Welcome one, welcome all. You're back for some Wolf Talk. And this is one I promised you yesterday, but with Captain Marvel Rotten Tomatoes thing going on, yeah, that kind of got sidetracked. But hey, shit happens. You roll with the punches. What we got going on this morning? I wanted to talk about a Star Trek TV show of the 90s that could have been something truly epic, instead fell with a dull thought as far as I'm concerned. And what's that show? In my opinion, the only show better than Discovery, actually only one step removed from Discovery, and that's Voyager. And the sad part is, Voyager had all the right ingredients. Kate Mulgrew was pitch perfect as Janeway if they just got her writing consistent. In fact, that's the biggest Achilles heel of the Voyager show. Writing. Inconsistent as shit. And way too much TNG, not enough thought like DS9. Because DS9 took chances. I mean, if you saw that last video, that's why I thoroughly enjoyed Deep Space Nine, is because it took chances. It went morally gray. It had subject, the captain who do completely morally questionable things, and he actually, it dove into stuff. Deep Space Nine did none of that. It was like almost a clone copy, with a few exceptions, of the Next Generation, and Voyager needed to be so much more than that. You see, the biggest problem was they had a showrunner called Ronald Moore, and if you don't know who he is, he did the absolutely fantastic reimagining of the Battlestar Galactica, which is still one of my favorite shows to date. Yes, I know, the Battlestar 1978 Pyrrhus, I know, her Screeching Ree. I like that too for what it was, but the 2004 reimagining was amazing. And that level of writing, if the Voyager team had given Ronald Moore his head and let him write the show he wanted, we could have had something so breathtaking, so groundbreaking, it would have been a runaway hit. I mean, we saw sparks of it in like the first two seasons with Janeway having moral dilemmas and questioning herself and going to Tuvok and like, you are my moral compass. You're the one I go to when I need to be straightened out. That kind of stuff should have been a running theme with Janeway of, principle versus morality and what do I do? I mean, the highlights of the show for me was the two-part episode of Equinox. Though Janeway did some very moral, questionable stuff when she saw someone else, going against Starfleet principles. And then Year of Hell. Year of Hell should have been an entire season. That should have just been a long-running arc instead of just a couple-parter we got. That could have been some of the best writing we have ever seen in Star Trek. A Starfleet crew literally pushed to the brink, and what do they do? Or that season 2 episode where we saw the quantum doubling of Enterprise and the morality of what do we do? Which, stuff like that just fell by the wayside. And yes, there was, nice episodes where, we got to look into, Tom Paris, his background, where he likes Captain Proton, or, the bar on, Paris that became a staple. I mean, stuff like that was great, but we just never really saw, except for like maybe in the first season or two, which was intermixed with TNG style, of, was it right to, do an alliance with the Kazon, Seska betraying them, we really never delved deep into people's psyches, how they were doing, how they were barely holding on. I mean, and another thing that bugged me was Voyager herself. By the time we got to season 7, B'Elanna Torres should have been barely holding on to that ship, in my opinion, with baling wire and duct tape. I mean, that ship should have been practically falling apart at the seams. I mean, when we got to Equinox, when Ransom says, yeah, it's real easy to sit there when, your stuff's working, you're not starving and all that, and Janeway goes, oh, really? She, taps a couple things on the table, slides it over to him. Looks can be deceiving. This ship's barely being held together as it is. I just have a hell of an engineer. yes, we've had some luck on our side, but this ship ain't doing much better than Equinox. If they'd have done stuff like that, or, and Truth or Myth, I just subbed to his channel. He does the Truth or Myth series. Did a really great expose on Janeway where she's not the hero, she's the villain because she conscientiously violates the Prime Directive and keeps the crew in the Delta Quadrant by destroying the caretaker instead of she's going all out to observe the Prime Directive, just fight enough to get back home, and then suddenly the caretaker self-destructs before she can even do it. Now she's forced into crap. We had our chance to go home, it fell apart. Now I'm stuck 70,000 light years from home. They all think we're probably dead. What do I do? That would have been a great seasonal. That would have been a great, series arc for Janeway. She struggles to deal with all this stuff. And you see cracks in her psyche, and I think Q would have been a great. We should have had a great couple episodes with Q, where I know that certain stuff he does that goofy stuff, which was totally cool. Those are great episodes with Q. But John Delancey should have seen Janeway deteriorating. John Delancey's Q, and he should have had a couple episodes where he steps in and goes, kind of does the same thing he did with Picard, but does it more for Janeway and gets her to face her demons and realize this is way out of your control. Yes, I could step in and fix it, but you wouldn't grow as a person if I did that. And, and it forces her to confront all the things that are tearing her down and play. This is the kind of stuff that if we just had some better, concise writing, Voyager, in my opinion, probably could have been my favorite series. A crew pushed to the breaking point and find out what they're really made of and what they'll do to get home. That could have been something special. Instead, we got what we got. And Endgame, that whole, Endgame would have made a lot more sense if the first episode had gone the way of the caretaker self-destruct before Janeway can get her crew back to them and forces the caretaker to send her back home. That would have made a hell of a lot more sense than what we got. But anyways, those are just me kind of scratching the surface and an overview of where I think Voyager really went wrong and why for me it is probably, out of the original TNG era shows, probably the worst. Because it had its hints of brilliance, but too many times it just fell back into formulaic, episodic, TNG-style stuff that made no fucking sense 70,000 light years from home with no help whatsoever. I mean, you had those hints of, hey, this is our situation, and you had those other things of where, oh, look, we're just going to go do the Federation thing with a perfectly functioning ship like she just left space dock. No. Stuff like Year of Hell should have been par for the course, and then you sprinkle in some of those TNG-styled episodes. So it's not all doom and gloom, and then you just have one season, like I said, where it's basically the Year of Hell. And everything that can go wrong will go wrong, and the crew is literally pushed to the breaking point beyond, and Janeway's psyche is sorely tested as she tries to hold her ship, her crew, and everything together. Stuff like that. But anyways, guys, tell me what you think below. What you think of Voyager. Do you think I'm crazy? Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Tell me your thoughts. But for me, Voyager was the little show that could have been, but just failed most times to live up to expectations, at least the expectations I had for it. Anyways, I'll catch y'all later. I hope y'all have a fantastic day.